Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Green. This is Trifecta, and we have a presidential debate kicking off here in just a few hours. So let's bring on Scott Ott and Bill Whittle and get to the big debate preview. Been waiting all week for this. All right, gents, before we talk about the contenders, I want to spend a moment on the moderator, CNN's Candy Crowley. Bill, Crowley has said up front that she does not intend, these are her words, to be a fly on the wall. Isn't that an implicit criticism of Jim Lehre's performance 2 weeks ago? And what do you think she means by that?
I don't know if it's so much that, Steve. I think that's the amazing thing about Candy Crowley is she's managed to do what no one in this country can do, and that is bring Republicans and Democrats together on an issue and say, we think this is just a mess. Your job is to moderate questions from the audience. That's why they call it a town hall meeting. And I think what Candy Crowley is doing by saying, I'm not just going to be a moderator, I'm not just going to read questions, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to redirect questions, I'm going to ask my own questions. I think what she's really doing is, I think she's sort of prepping the battle space for her to have the kind of performance that the Democrats need, namely, cut Mitt Romney off, give biting, hard, terrific follow-up questions to Mitt Romney, and when Barack Obama starts to wander off into the weeds, help direct him back onto the kind of answer that the American people want to see.
Well, we've never seen anything like that before. Tom Brokaw, 2008. Scott, Bill totally stepped on your question. So instead, I'm going to ask you this. If Crowley does what she's promised to do, does that give either or both candidates kind of an out if they don't perform up to expectations tonight?
Bill didn't actually step on my question. What Bill did was prepare the battle space to make sure that I didn't look good in this episode of Trifecta. He did a terrific job of that. Yeah, you know, first of all, think of this from Candy Crowley's perspective, okay? She's a CNN hostess, reporter, whatever you want to call her. This audience of perhaps 70, 75 million people that are going to see her tonight on television is 100 times the biggest audience she's ever had on CNN. So I think in addition to, you know, that sort of bias, the political bias that Bill talked about, I think we also have a situation where this woman says, look, this is my coming out. This is my debutante ball. Nobody's ever seen me before. The entire country is going to get to see me for the first time. And by the way, I actually met Candy Crowley with my friend radio host Mike Coolidge out at the Republican National Convention. She was a very nice woman, and I really admire the fact that she is a reporter who doesn't have to show her legs, and we're all thankful for that.
Oh, boy. You know, before we go on, though, I want to make one point. Ace of Spades mentioned the other day, I think it was on Twitter, that it's time we stop talking about the biased media. Now they're just the advocacy media. They're totally shilling for one side. All right, Bill, let's talk about the spin. If Obama does just a little bit better tonight than he did 2 weeks ago, will it be hailed as a great comeback, even though I don't think anybody's going to believe that?
First thing we need to understand about this debate tonight is it is going to be the greatest performance by President Obama ever in the history of the world. That's going to be the news tomorrow, regardless of what happens. Even if Obama doesn't show up, that will be the evidence. But I'd like you guys to think about the psychological pressure on this man who doesn't seem to handle psychological pressure very well because he never gets any psychological pressure. Number one, he knows that he's lost an enormous amount of ground, which means he has all the pressure of feeling like he has to make it up. Number two, Mitt Romney is inside this guy's head. I am convinced that Barack Obama, forget the fact that he didn't look at Romney. I don't think he can look at Romney. I genuinely believe it. I don't think he has it in him to stare at Mitt Romney in the face and tell the kind of lies about him that he's been telling all this time. But another thought had occurred to me on the way down today. So add to all of the pressures on Obama. Consider this. Barack Obama, the great communicator, the man who connects with the people, has been upstaged as the hero of the left by Joe frickin' Biden. Think about that. Think about the kind of psychological pressure it puts on this guy. All Romney has to do is show up and just be calm and decent and competent. And I am really feeling like if Obama wins tonight, it's still a race. If Romney wins tonight, it's over.
You know what? That's an excellent point. Scott, where are you on this? If Obama isn't at least as good as Romney in a Democrat-friendly format like this town hall, is it all over? Can he recover from that?
Well, I think if he doesn't come out of the box with something a lot better than what we saw last time, he's got no chance at all. I mean, a lot of people who tuned in have already made their decision after watching Mitt Romney, especially some undecided people who said, hey, this doesn't look like the guy I've heard about in the commercials. And so Barack Obama, like Bill suggested, has to make up he's like 47 points down. And he'll try to do that by bringing up the 47% remark by Mitt Romney. But if you think Romney is not hoping that he says something about that, you're sadly mistaken. I think we're going to see a big win for Mitt Romney tonight, and President Obama will be nothing but excuses tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got my fingers crossed. It's been since 1984 since we've had a Republican who's really comfortable in a debate. It's an awesome thing to see. All right, folks, yes, I expect there to be enough plants in the audience to make the debate look like it's being held in a greenhouse. And yes, I expect Crowley to keep her left thumb planted firmly on the scale. But let me tell you where my hope comes in. Over the weekend, the Obama camp leaked that the president will hammer Romney tonight on Bain Capital. Now, I don't know if you remember, but that's been done already. So done as a part of Obama's spaghetti method attacks on Romney over the summer. You know, you throw everything against the wall and you see what sticks. Well, that's worked so well that Romney is now just 1 or 2 states away from a pretty comfortable win. You see, it's one thing to throw spaghetti against the wall, but when you're throwing months-old spaghetti, it's just a big stinking mess. And mostly, it just sticks to you. For PJTV, I'm Steve Green.